From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problem, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm now 5 days post-dental surgery, and I'm doing great. As long as I don't have to say anything with a K in it. And now broadcasting from the Level 9 studios, that guy is Dr. Jim Jobin. I'm in Tangeman. It's time for some pod therapy.
Yes, Nigel. I think you could be a good Nigel. Nigel Tangeman.
Nigel.
Dude, I like listening to our song in Scott's headsets. It has some bass. It's
yeah.
It's good. I forget that our song... I need to make it my ringtone at some point. I'm going to do that.
I've been meaning to try to work it up on banjo, and I just haven't gotten around to it.
You made that promise a long
I know.
time. You wrote a check that you have not cashed.
Yeah.
So I think the people are owed something on that. But yeah, if you want
I
to
can
hear
do it.
all about...
I just don't have a banjo and don't know how to play it.
But I'll get there. I'm almost there, man.
It's almost a guarantee.
I'm right on the edge of this.
As soon as I get a banjo and learn
blow
how to play
up as a banjo musician here. So if you want to hear all about Nick's a wonderful dental surgery, which almost scene for scene is identical to my vasectomy, today is the day.
Not at all.
Go be a patron. Today is the day.
I don't remember
hear all about it.
In my story, throwing a fit. And then throwing a sucker to get
it was
attention
glorious.
from
That's
a
not
nurse.
what it was. It was a cry for help, literally, a throw for help. Also, speaking of things that remind me of Kate Keller, she is also drawing up a comic strip to celebrate how I discovered there is no Santa. That's coming up on Pod Therapy Comics. she messaged me to warn me and say, hey, just so you know, like I'm rounding third base on the Santa comic. And I'm like, Jesus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then she's also working up some preliminary drawings. I'll actually show them to you while we're talking, just to Nick. You the rest of you guys can't see this part.
Yeah.
But it is preliminary drawings for our pterodactyl character on our Patreon. Isn't that cool?
I like that.
Isn't that really cool? She's making him like a therapist. Isn't that adorable? So she sent it to me. She's like, hey, man, like I've almost got him done. He's like a little therapist. And so our pterodactyl's almost done. And
I love that.
We'll add him up onto our Patreon for all of our wonderful pterodactyls. We love you, Kate. That's going to be so much fun.
That is awesome.
Good times, great oldies, dental work that reminds me of vasectomies.
Speaking of dental work that reminds you of vasectomies.
The following sponsor.
No, I was going to say, moving on to our A block.
Oh, yeah. That happened.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. This just came out. I haven't even read it yet.
No, I'll pitch it. It's really interesting study. So there's been a lot of talk lately about how do you use magic mushrooms, or I believe it's pronounced
psilocybin?
That one, psilocybin. God, there's such a weird spelled word, isn't it? So psilocybin, magic mushrooms, hallucinogens. Can these be used medicinally, right? And there's been a bunch of studies that came out about this. And in the last episode, we were talking about it in the Patreon part, and Jacob vetoed that in favor of your Halloween horror show stories. But this one came back up. I think it's a really good one, and I was blasting it on Twitter. So CNN puts out a news article talking about a new study that talked about whether magic mushrooms can treat depression and anxiety. So without getting like into the play-by-play of every single nuance of how this thing worked, basically it was a study that analyzed patients who had been diagnosed with cancer, and as they were experiencing depression and anxiety related to this diagnosis of cancer, they were running these tests where they were giving one group magic mushrooms and one group a placebo, right?
Right.
And so they're running that bit. And they're also giving them therapy. And I thought, that's an interesting way to corrupt all your results, is you're also using an evidence-based treatment.
Well, no. Not if it's given to both groups, right?
Well, this is where the thing gets really interesting, right? So they do this trick. It's in 2019, and they did a follow-up on it. So they started this in 2019, and now they're reporting on the follow-up now and saying, hey, the big news is 4 years later or 3 years later, whenever they reran the test in 2019, the groups who went through this, they're reporting that their depression and anxiety continues to be at bay, or that they're doing better than they once were when they were first diagnosed with cancer, right? So basically the study's, revealing that, and I'll quote a little bit of it, by 6.5 months after all patients had received psilocybin, about 60 to 80% showed clinically significant reductions in depression, anxiety, and existential distress, and improved attitudes toward death, okay? So, great. You hear that and you go, wow, 60 to 80% of people who receive magic mushrooms 6.5 months later have improved drastically. Now, first off, I want to tear this thing apart for lots of academic reasons, but I guess I'll just continue to read from the article here. Though his team does not fully understand how psilocybin had such effects on the mind, they previously suggested it could be because our brains have a level of neuroplasticity, the ability to adapt and change with various experiences. And that, I just want to, all right, I'm going to tear this whole thing apart in like 1 second. Let me finish with this last quote. There is no control group in this current study. This means that we do not know whether the participants might have improved long-term anyway, regardless of the treatment. That's a real quote from the actual article. So here's my beef with this thing and why I think it needs to be torn apart in lots of little tiny pieces and thrown around as confetti in the air. So can magic mushrooms treat depression and anxiety? Maybe, and I'm not categorically against the concept that any narcotic could basically be repurposed for medicinal use, right? I'm not against it. Great, let's try things, let's use science, let's figure it out. But it's very weak evidence whenever you start by saying, hey, world, can you believe it? MDMA, or in this case, shrooms, is treating this really difficult thing called depression, which, by the way, is now considered a leading cause of death. Like suicide is killing lots and lots of people, and it's successful long term. End of the study. By the way, there was no control group. Well, that's not off to the races here with a great start. There's no control group? That's not okay. That's not science.
And maybe I don't understand this. I should probably read this article, though. But I guess my question, though, is...
A placebo is not a control group. A control group is nothing. So if you're giving... And plus, also, I would argue that on the scale of things that a placebo is effective for in duping the participants, they're going to know whether they had shrooms, okay? So it's like, hey, did I get a Tic Tac or shrooms? I don't know. Can you taste the walls? Yeah, it's probably a Tic Tac. So, I don't think that's very effective anyway. But there was no control group.
But they could have been microdosing, too.
They weren't. So they were giving... that's not what the article described. Oh. So they were given whatever amount. They describe how much in the article. But there is no control group. So you didn't give a group nothing and find out if they improved over 6.5 months. Which, by the way...
just psychotherapy sessions.
Yeah, just psychotherapy. Or another thing, Nick, nothing. The grief model predicts that over 6.5 months, people that are diagnosed with cancer are going to go through the stages of grief and probably be better off than they were in the beginning. So asking people, are you feeling less depressed than you were when we diagnosed you with cancer? Yeah, I'm doing better. I'm doing better. Oh, that was the shrooms. Or it could have been, I don't know, the psychotherapy. They received 9 sessions of psychotherapy. So that's 2.5 months of treatment.
What were the results? Does it go into explaining what the results were for the placebo group that also got psychotherapy?
The actual study?
Yeah.
Compared to the placebo, did the shrooms beat the placebo? Yeah. Yes, the shrooms did beat the placebo. But they don't beat a control.
Right, but we don't know by how much they beat.
No, I didn't see that
because it says 60 to 80% showed significant reductions.
And a straight-up control is going to show that. Maybe not 60 to 80% depending upon the course of treatment for their cancer, but come on, man. Half a year after a grieving experience, are people still depressed? And it's not major depressive disorder. That's another thing. You're categorically falsely informing the public when you say shrooms treated their depression. Depression in this tense is a symptom, not a disease. The disease is cancer, and they're having a depressed reaction and anxious reaction to a terminal illness.
So it probably doesn't fit really well with looking at treating depression or anxiety specifically.
This thing is so misleading.
No, but here's the thing. Is your beef with the study or with CNN?
2 things.
Because the only thing you can really fault... you can fault CNN for sensationalism.
CNN. Yes, that is exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, because...
or do I fault the study?
Well, because we don't have the actual study.
It was published in the Journal of Psychopharmacology. I'm comfortable with that because what they're doing, and this is where I think we have a weird interplay now between journalism and journalism, like the other kind of journalism, like academic journals. Academic journals publish things all the time that are not claiming necessarily to be true. It's just interesting data that should come to the notice of other researchers to inform their work.
Well, yeah, and it's basically, hey, we did this. These are our results.
Yeah, they're not making huge truth claims.
Right. Some studies will go further to say, we believe this is why.
Yeah. Here's what could happen about that. But that's another important takeaway.
But then what happens then is the FM radio morning show.
The morning zoo. Yeah, it goes, hey, everybody, guess what? Go take some shrooms and you'll feel better. Here comes, but here's the other thing that pisses me off.
But isn't that what we're doing?
Wow. What? You just blew my mind. But look at this. Look at this thing. Even in the study, they're like, yeah, we have no idea why psilocybin would do this. So we think it's because of neuroplasticity. Of all the dishwater generic reasons that you could claim change happened, you reached for neuroplasticity, the thing that happens when you go outside. Like anything can cause neuroplasticity. The therapy would have caused neuroplasticity. Just going through medical treatments would have caused it. Going through a grieving process, being comforted by friends, anything would have caused that. But for them to say the mechanism of change was neuroplasticity, to me, hails the fact that they have no agent. They have no mechanism that theoretically would have worked. And like a lobotomy has a better argument for this. So like it pisses me off. But back to your point. Am I mad at the Journal or CNN? I'm mad at CNN. I'm not mad at the Journal. I think that's just data. They're just publishing data and saying, hey, interesting. For those of you interested in whether or not this can treat, here's what we found. Take that or leave that. And that's why they declare so openly there's no control. Well, because they're talking to scientists. And we all need to know that. That's not a reason to dismiss everything. We can still learn from the study. But thank you. Thank you for telling me there was no control. Thank you for admitting you have no hypothesis of what the mechanism of action is.
And there's a lot of research out there that happens sometimes that with the sole intent that this isn't what we're actually after, but we need to do this study so that we can do the thing that we need to do.
Yes. And that's what this kind of was. It was kind of a longitudinal study. So then I get really pissed at CNN because here's the thing that really makes me mad. Okay, so this comes down to the here and now. So CNN publishes this crap next to another article they have about this new hyper marijuana strain that's like 5 times more powerful than marijuana, which, by the way, you heard it here first. I'm calling it megawana. Okay, TM. Every time this thing shows up on CNN, I comment with megawana and just sit back and receive my likes. I get like hundreds of them. So very, very proud of it. So I called it here first. Okay. It's published, Pod Therapy TM Megawana.
But did Ellen like it?
Oh, she didn't. I didn't get nothing from Ellen. So yeah, like CNN's always so excited to talk about drugs, which is whatever. But like what pisses me off is I have patients right now that are going through depression and dealing with suicidal ideation. I don't want to get too specific, but let's keep it broad. Let's use the plural of patients, okay? And I've had patients who have gone through this and who have come in, and I've said, great, let's follow up on where we're at. What do the psychiatrists say? Are you doing your medication? Are you doing your SSRIs? We're doing the basic steps of normal, let's take care of this mode. No, Jim, I stopped taking my SSRIs. Why did you do that? We had a plan. That was part of our treatment plan is I wanted the help of the psychiatrist. Oh, well, I decided to take shrooms instead because I saw this whole thing. So I called my local drug dealer. I hooked up with some shrooms. I took them. And you know what, man? It hasn't really been helping. So I think I'm going to start taking some more. And me going like, please don't do that. But like trying not to lose the therapeutic alliance and being like, hey, you made a mistake, right? Like, well, the SSRIs weren't working. How long were you on them? 3 days.
Right.
Okay. So like, did they tell you it takes 14 days? Oh, that's taking forever. Like the shrooms work immediately. Okay. But like they work in the sense that you feel them. Meanwhile, the Tylenol of mental health takes 2 weeks because it's so safe that like it eventually saturates with. So you see what I'm talking about? Right. See how dangerous that is? And it's derailing my treatment plan because now here I am trying to help them understand that there's a level of discomfort that they sort of need to accept. And we're going to work through that anyway. And they're looking for the stupid instant fix that CNN seems to be promising them and then wondering why it's not working. And then when they fail at shrooms, which is supposed to be this illuminating spiritual experience and it doesn't save their life, now they're more suicidal than ever.
Sure.
And now it's me trying to friggin' save their life. And now they're in more danger, not less, because of this kind of irresponsible journalism.
Right. And now you're in the same boat as every other medical professional when it comes to essential oils.
Yeah, right. But I don't understand. I'm burning lavender all day. I don't get it. Why can't I see 20/20? I don't know. damnedest thing. My wife and I, by the way, fight about this all the time. Huge fights.
Got into a little bit of an argument with Laura.
Oh, we're on the same team.
Not
on
over
this.
the essential oils.
Okay.
It was over her nala beads.
Oh,
what
are nala beads?
Okay, so there are these beads. We're getting way off track. But
no, this is almost as scientific as this article. So go ahead.
Okay, so it's these beads, and they're like crystals or whatever.
Okay.
And
they channel electricity and energy.
For those of you who don't know, my girlfriend Laura is very
vegan,
hippie.
Oh, okay.
Like very hippie.
Yeah.
But these nala beads have to be, whenever there's a full moon, they have to be, she sets them outside to charge.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, so it has to be out during a full moon.
Yes. That's how you get the full blast of moonshine.
Right. But hold on. So it has to be out during a full moon, not a half moon, which means that the light has something to do with it, because it's not that like half of the moon is gone.
Right.
It's just how much light is reflected.
Yeah.
So since the light isn't produced by the moon, it's just sunlight bouncing off of the moon.
Yeah.
I said, well, why don't you just lay them out there in the afternoon or at high noon?
That's
in
too
the
much
sunlight?
sun. It's too much sun. Full moon is the right amount of blast.
Right.
This isn't hard.
This
isn't hard. Yeah. No, your entire argument is flawed.
And then she moved out. So
yeah. After you drove yourself home from the dentist. Yeah. Are you texting her right now to apologize for whatever this episode's going to say? Also, happy Valentine's Day, Laura. Yeah. When you hear this, you will have enjoyed Valentine's Day alone and better off. So anyway, for all of you who've been wondering whether or not shrooms treats depression and anxiety, no, it is not longitudinally tested. It is not FDA approved. It is not a known treatment. Don't do it.
Technically, you can't say no. You can just say that we don't know yet.
We can say no because it is false until proven true when it comes to healthcare. Like, how do I know that, howling at the moon doesn't cure cancer? Let's go with it doesn't. Let's shake the things that do, right? We're healthcare providers.
Well, I think you can say that there's no evidence to support that.
Yes. There is no evidence to support shrooms treating your depression or anxiety. There's ample evidence to support psychotherapy treating these conditions, regular old antidepressants and anti-anxiety. Take your pick. Take tricyclics, take Maui's, take SSRIs. I don't care. But any of those are better than going out to your local drug dealer, buying hallucinogens, and hoping that that's going to make you not want to kill yourself. That is not the right way to pursue this. Do not do that. Also, for those of you that think marijuana solves all your problems, again, see point A, not medicine. You should probably pursue medicine first.
I think there are some medicinal uses for it, but I think the best argument I ever heard kind of against it was actually from a local doctor who we both know.
Oh, yeah.
And he made a really good argument.
I think I know exactly what you're going to say, but go ahead.
About marijuana being used as a medicine.
Was this Mel?
Yeah.
Okay, what did he say?
Well, because he's like, it simply isn't.
Okay.
It may have some medical qualities, it may have some effects, but you can't say it's medicine.
Okay.
Because look at all the ingredients that are in it.
Okay.
How can you prescribe it? Because how much of each chemical are you prescribing?
Right.
And how much are you actually getting in a dose? There's no way to actually do it.
It can't be that finely regulated.
if someone prescribed, Vicodin, then they know exactly
the chemical formula,
what is in it,
what's in the Vicodin.
How much of each
down
substance,
to the molecule.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
You know exactly how much it is. You can prescribe a specific amount. You know
and by
exactly
weight.
how much you're taking.
Yes.
So with marijuana, you can't do any of that.
That's true.
So to actually call it a medicine, it doesn't quite fit with that criteria.
I've heard him talk. He has a big applause line where he says, medicine is prescribed by a physician and received from a pharmacy. And then he bangs a table and people go, yay. Of course, he got bigger applauses before we legalized it. I don't know that he's on the winning side yet. Which everybody that's listening to the show knows that Nick and I do not necessarily have any kind of ill will against recreational marijuana use. I'm good with it. Just call it what it is. It's recreational marijuana use. But when you're self-medicating with anything that's a psychoactive substance, that's playing with something that I feel like we have better alternatives to. Like it's like building a house with a rock instead of a hammer. Like use the hammer. Like that's what it's for. Like you're going to get a better house out of it. This other way may not work. So marijuana's not up to code.
And I'm perfectly fine being proven wrong about that.
Yeah, use science to do it though.
Yeah, exactly.
With a control group, CNN. Jesus.
Well, that wasn't CNN. That was the study that said there's no control group.
Idiots.
Anyway, all right, moving on. All right, well, we're going to take a quick. God damn, I can't say. I can't say quick.
You can't say case. How about a brief?
We're going to take a brief break.
Pause.
That still doesn't sound good.
Pause.
And when we come back, we will discuss an ex stealing a diary. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
This week's TheraProducer sponsor is Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop. I'm tired of Wikipedia, so for this episode, it's Star Wars Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah, I wrote that.
Other than Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, who informed Darth Vader that the Emperor insisted on making contact with him? Who informed Vader that the Emperor? Well, the Emperor did himself, because he was Anakin Skywalker at the time.
Oh my God, you are wrong.
The Emperor and Anakin were friends. He was Palpatine. Palpatine is the Emperor.
Yes.
Yes. Anakin is Darth Vader. There's an entire series of them just talking.
This is no.
Is it his wife?
No.
Was it Ewan McGregor?
No. This is in A New Hope.
If you'd like to join Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop,
write your answer on the back of a $20 bill and mail it to
and join the empire, you can go to www.patreon.com/therapy and sign up. Again, that's patreon.com/therapy.
We're back. You're listening to Pod Therapy. Our next question is about an ex stealing a diary.
Hi, guys. I've been struggling with a dilemma for 10 years now and would love to get your advice. Geez, man, we got to get to these letters faster.
Yeah, I
know. 10 years. That's on us.
We're only in our third year.
Man, we are way behind. They're writing in from the future now. 10 years ago, I went through a very contentious divorce. My ex struggles with narcissistic personality disorder, OCD, and paranoia. This is not me playing armchair therapist, but it comes from a professional diagnosis and is a whole different story, but gives you some context.
You can tell she's a listener because she knew your response was going to be.
She knows Jim's about to freak out. She's like, hold on, Jim, calm your tits. All right. When we divorced, I left our marital home, but left behind a small box of childhood belongings. I negotiated a return of that box after a few months. When returned, I discovered that a journal I had kept as a teen was missing. When I asked for it back, I was met with silence. The journal in question was written when I was 14 and 15 years old and was going through a tough time dealing with a family crisis. My mother and her own mental health struggles, and both parents had substance abuse issues. I journaled to deal with my feelings, and it was helpful at the time. For some stupid reason, I hung on to it instead of destroying it. Back to my divorce. In our first in-person courtroom appearance to negotiate child custody, his lawyer submitted my old journal as evidence that I was somehow psychologically unfit to care for my kids. Jesus. I discovered that it had been copied and read by his entire legal team. So, newsflash, what you commit to paper as a teen has little to do with how competent you are as a parent 20 years later, and it is not allowed in court. However, I was completely humiliated. Some unknown number of people have read my teen diary, and to this day, my ex has copies. The dilemma: I have the original journal that I'd love to destroy and cannot remember its contents, but I'm worried that the copies my vindictive ex has will one day resurface. I have no desire to reread the thing. I'm in a good place in life, and I do not want to relive that time of my life. The idea that others would have this information and access to my intimate thoughts just hurts. Information about me that I do not have at the moment. My ex lives a miserable life and seems to find joy in being able to control or hurt me. So it is entirely possible he could do something with that information. That fear keeps me from destroying the journal. It makes this journal a burden. I want it to go away, but I don't know how to move past this. Ideas are much appreciated. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really unique one. Do you destroy your journals? You don't.
You know what? No, I still have one journal.
I have that one on eBay, but nobody's bought it. I keep lowering the price. Nobody wants your journal.
The world's sending you a message, Jim. No, actually, I journaled once, actually, after the divorce.
Okay.
And I still have that.
Yeah.
I also have a whole bunch of emails that I never sent.
Drafts.
That acted as my journal in a way.
That's fair.
But yeah, if somebody else got a hold of that.
Teen journal, too. I had a journal as a teenager. And it was like, that would have been terrifying.
We should never be held to who we are as a teenager.
That won't stop the world, man. I mean, a professional lawyer tried to bring that in.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get disbarred for that, but dude, you should
That's pretty low.
That's very, I mean, lawyers, what are you going to do? Yeah, I'm talking to you, Kassab. No, it's pretty rough, man. I mean, that's terrible. You know, it's funny, though, because I had a journal when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and I had it in a Word doc, and I password protected it. And the Word file,
like
I'm going to tell you
like
everything.
Doogie Howser?
Yeah. Yeah, I was sitting there type up and I thought.
You don't even know who Doogie Howser is.
Okay, it's the D, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you ever watched it, though?
I'm aware of it. It was Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I was like 2 when that show came out.
No,
you were like
in
your 30s. How can I know?
Yeah.
So anyway.
I was a doctor myself.
I was a doctor myself at the time, a strapping 16-year-old physician. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Word file was called Sesame. And it was password protected. Can you guess what the password was? Sesame Street? No. You don't know what the password would have been for a file called Sesame?
Open?
Yes.
That would have been, okay, so I got it on my second try.
Out of 2.
Yeah.
Also your last try. So anyway, I would not have wanted anybody to ever find that. That's terrible. That's why I password protected it with such encrypted, amazing protection.
Yeah. What criminal mastermind could penetrate that fortress of security?
Yeah, that's right. Certainly not her ex, because this guy's a doofus. So
here's the thing. There could be a legal reason to hold on to it, which I'm not qualified to give that.
I feel like,
on.
there's a logic to that.
So if
to have the original somewhere?
Yeah. Maybe that'd be a good thing to consult your attorney about and see, like, hey, should I hold on to this just so I have evidence in case he's tries
if they
to doctor it?
Yeah, if they
something?
alter them, then how are you going to prove that that's not what it really said? And they can't destroy it because then they're destroying evidence. The chain of custody would reveal that.
Yeah.
So having it's actually to your legal benefit.
But that's legal advice, and I'm not qualified to give it, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to throw that out there as an idea.
I agree.
Something
you're not qualified
to
either.
think about.
Yeah.
There's some mental health stuff in here, emotional stuff, which I'm also not qualified.
I don't feel qualified to do that for either. Let's stick to the lawyer thing. That was working for us. I don't know. I mean, destroying it. So the writer's saying if I destroy this, it would bring me relief. Knowing it exists reminds me of a time in my life that I don't want to go back to. I don't want to read it. I have no value for it. I would be better off if this didn't exist anymore.
So where is the emotional stress coming from? I think part of it is knowing other people have it and other people have read it.
Yeah.
And I think
part of it.
I think that's where to me, it sounds like that's where a big part of the emotional distress is coming from. And that's something that is going to have to be something that is,
because you can't deal with that.
That has to be radical acceptance.
Yeah, right.
You just have to get to a point where you just have to, take a couple deep breaths and realize this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is the situation now, but I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Other people have read it, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay. So that would be one thing I would continue to
And none
reinforce.
of us is our worst moment, writer. And I think she accepts that in what she wrote to us, like a recognition that even though a lot of us have painful pasts and tons of memories of things that we did wrong, or things that we had half understandings of at the time and regrets, none of us is our worst moment.
Yeah. I mean, I have reread some of the stuff that I wrote after my divorce.
Yeah, it's probably pretty petty.
And I'm like, oh my God, I hope no one sees this.
Is it all murder plans?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. But I just felt like, oh man, and that was me as an adult.
Yeah, it's twisted and toxic.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine
not okay.
what I would read as a teenager.
Yeah, a teenager going through hell too.
Yeah.
So I get it. Being embarrassed about that. I mean, and I think Nick's right. I think obviously your only option on that is radical acceptance. And just kind of landing in a place of full understanding that is not who I am. It does not reflect me. It reflects a child who was going through hell at the time. And we should all feel a sense of compassion for that child. And these idiots don't, and that makes them less human, but you're a good person. So then the next question is, if destroying this thing would give you some sense of relief, if it would bring a finality to a part of your story, What do we think about that? Well, obviously we've brought up the legal thing that, there might be a good reason not to destroy this thing. Gosh, man. But she says it feels like a burden, that fear. She says, I have this fear that's keeping me from destroying it. What do you do? I wonder if you could somehow do something with it,
Burn.
Besides destroy it. Like, I wonder if
here's
you
the
could
thing.
ship it somewhere.
Here's what I would do. If
Bury it.
No, I wouldn't even do that. Here's what I would do. If this were me and I'm in that situation, I would take that letter. I have I don't know if you've got something like this too, but I've got like a box of childhood things.
Okay.
Like I've got my Superman cape that my mom made me.
Nice.
When I was little. I've got
Is this at your house right now?
Yes, it is.
Did I move it whenever we moved into your new house? Shit,
yes.
I was holding this gold mine and I just walked around with it?
Yeah. You had the Ark of the Covenant and you just moved it and you didn't even know. I've got a box of like childhood memory stuff that I'm always going to hold on to.
Yeah.
It's got sentimental value to me.
Yeah.
What I would do in this situation is I would put it in there. And I would keep it in, if I was going to keep it, I'd keep it in there.
Things.
Because I want to remind myself I was a child when I wrote this.
Yeah, that's fair.
This goes with the rest of my childhood things. As just kind of a way to remind myself that this doesn't represent me.
That's a good idea.
It feels weird that other people have seen it, just like it would feel weird if you saw my Superman cape.
Right.
Feel a little weird.
I mean, I might not. You should show me. Let's find out.
But that being next to that would just kind of send that. It just kind of puts it in its place where it belongs.
Yeah. No, I think that's an interesting point. I like the symbolism of that. I think that's a good option. So that's, don't destroy it, but appropriately file it, among other childhood things that are not relevant to you as an adult. The one thing too, though, I believe that the writer has a child because it's written in here about custody. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, this is something I've sometimes thought about. Like artifacts of my own mental turmoils. Do I save those? Because my kid can read. One of them can. And my handwriting's pretty horrible, but like they could figure it out. And, a kid doesn't know any better. I think we've had a writer who once wrote to us about reading their parents' journal.
Yes.
And whether they should, and they chose not to, and they gave it to a friend and asked the friend to read it, and then to give them any pertinent information, because that, the friend's immune to whatever emotional stuff's in there. And so I can see the same situation here where is there logic to destroying this? And really what I see the writer going through is the writer saying, dude, I should have destroyed this a long time ago. I didn't. Somebody used it against me. If I don't destroy it now.
Could it be used again?
It's like the ring from Lord of the Rings. That's what I think this is. You should have destroyed it when you had the chance. And now you're holding on to it. And if you don't destroy it, it's going to fall in the wrong hands. There's going to be a war. Wizards are going to get in there. The Shire.
So there's that. I mean, you could destroy it. Burn it.
I'm kind of on team.
Like that.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of on team destroy it unless a legal reason not to. Or I'm on team put it somewhere nobody will ever find it. And that's where I'm on team dig a hole in the ground. And so I would probably wrap it in saran wrap with like a note that says, this is from this year. If there's not like dates in there, turn it into a time capsule. And, just put it deep underground in like a metal box or some crap. It's wrapped in saran wrap. Put it 5 feet underground. Bury it. That's just as symbolic as destroying it. And then, if you ever get sued or something and you need to pull this thing out, it's like, all right. When your kids are 18, burn it,
I'm kind of against that.
Oh, the burying thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know why? Because
cremation? Think that'd be better?
No. No, I'm against it in the sense that I feel like that's putting a lot of effort into like really hiding it and really putting it away. And to me, it seems like that's building up a lot of mental space.
Whereas just leaving
head.
it in your attic is.
Whereas just putting it away and just filing it is just kind of like, this isn't going to have power over me.
Yeah, but that's.
But if you bury it, then it's just like, I'm scared of this thing. I just got to put it really far away.
Do you see how we're like acknowledging how much power it has, though? Isn't it weird? Right. It's like calling from the deep.
This is why
it's like the telltale heart.
I'm on the team.
Destroy it.
Keep it.
Throw it into a volcano.
No, keep it or destroy it.
Yes.
Either way, you're going to be fine. That's the team I'm on.
Okay.
I think I think it's the radical acceptance,
Yes.
and it's we need to not give this thing any more power than it really has.
I feel that you are not acknowledging how much power it does have. This thing was used in a legal case to try to steal her children.
It was attempted to be used in a legal case.
It did fail.
And it did fail.
You're onto something here, Tangeman. But the kids, what if the kids read this and hear these horror stories?
Okay, well then you get to sit down with the kid and you get to explain, hey, this is what it's like. It's challenging being a teenager. These are some of the thoughts you're going to have. And you normalize this process.
Throw it in the volcano. I say you throw it in the volcano and you throw the lawyers in there too. That's what you do. That's how you solve this in one
That's
fell
why
swoop.
people listen to us.
And then you drop some shrooms.
For gems like that.
Gems
from Jim.
Oh, good luck on this one, Ryder. I wish we had better advice. I would definitely consult with a lawyer. But I think that there's something to be said for this, man. I mean, like, you have no joy in this object. It does nothing for you. It reminds you of a legacy that no longer matters. The only other thought I would have, Nick, is there's things in my life that I might right now want to destroy because it hurts me to think about. But in 30 years, I might be like, oh, well, that no longer affects me. That's so far my past. But it's a historical artifact of my past. Perhaps I do want to pull that out and look at it.
Sure. And there's going to be, every one of us has things like that from our past, which we feel like when we look at it, we kind of have that sense of like, oh, geez, I'm kind of embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed,
kind of like ashamed
If
of
we
where
all
I
destroyed
was.
things we were embarrassed of, we'd have nothing left over from our middle school years when we were in high school.
I think the solution to that isn't you destroy it. I think the solution to that is you accept it, it's neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah. It's just an artifact.
It's just like, okay, yeah, that's where I was at that time. And that's okay. It's okay that I was there.
Will you be role modeling this by getting out your kids' toys box and bringing that into the churn next time around?
Fine.
Oh, you heard it here first, patrons. And this will all be photographed and put onto Patreon.
I'm not going to bring everything. I'll bring the Superman cape.
No, bring all the things. See, this is why you throw it in the volcano, Ryder.
Yeah. All right. Let us know. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss toxic friendships. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
This week's TheraProducer sponsor is Dr. Ben Don. Star Wars Trivial Pursuit question number 2. This is what we should do. We should start doing this. I think this is, we just buy a Trivial Pursuit game and just start reading questions.
I have Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, let's just do that. Let's,
all right.
Yeah, why are we working
Forget
so hard?
Wikipedia.
Yeah, screw that noise. That was a lot of work. Copy and paste and just bring a box and leave it on the churn. What Imperial did Vader and Ben Don choke using the Force in the Death Star's conference room? What Imperial, you must mean soldier. What Imperial officer or soldier? Oh, he has a name? The dude who got choked?
Oh, everybody in that movie has a name.
Oh my God. So that guy, I know who he is. Yeah, I know a white guy who looks like a German. Yeah.
Not only does he have a name, he's got a backstory. I'm not kidding.
It's all
I'm not
backstory
kidding.
that leads to getting choked out by
you
Vader.
you can actually look at jobs he applied for and didn't get because somebody else got it instead.
Oh, that's a deep well. That's a deep well. I want to go there. I want to go all the way out there.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my God. All right. Well, if you'd like to join Dr. Ben Don and make the show possible, you can go to www.patreon.com/therapy and sign up. Again, that's patreon.com/therapy.
Well, we're back. You're listening to Pod Therapy. Our next question is about toxic friendships.
Do you know what the number one comment on Twitter is under anything that the Pope tweets? It's really funny. So if you don't follow him, it's at Pontifex, okay? Or Pontifex. And anytime the Pope tweets anything, the number one comment is, choke me, daddy. Everybody tweets it. It's just this huge thread. Just people say, choke me, daddy. It's just nonstop. I love Twitter. I love everything it represents. Oh, that reminded me of that. Okay. Toxic friendships and relationships. So this is actually a longer letter, but we've shortened it to the more advice-y parts.
Yes, to the listener, I apologize. I had to shorten it.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of good details about the listener's life and a lot of stories, which was all super duper valid. But we shortened it to the part about advice. So this is about relationships. Still pretty good sized letter. Before I got engaged, I had talked to my partner and told her that I identify as polyamorous, and for as long as we were together, I would be monogamous if that's what the relationship needed. She said that she was open to the idea, but not that early in our relationship. I thought that was fair, and so we shelved it. To make another long story short, Over the course of about a year, the relationship between my partner and my best friend turned into a long-distance triad. He lived in a bigger city 2.5 hours away, and we would often travel to have crazy nights at his place. Him and I got along well, but it was normal for us to go weeks without talking at times. My partner really liked spending time with both of us, so we all started playing video games together. I felt like our relationship was made worse by having to spend too much time together. I like to put a lot of energy into conversation, and it just got exhausting to try to keep it interesting at a certain point. I thought we had a really great communication in our relationship, but it turns out something bugged my partner, and she wouldn't bring it up to me. She would vent to her friends and then try to move on past it. At a certain point, my best friend became that person that she told things to and never mentioned to me. About 2 weeks before we broke up, I tried to start a conversation about how it seemed like she didn't find me attractive anymore, something she kept bringing up during a short breakup, which she said that was now ridiculous. In what I now realize was a subconscious attempt to save the relationship, we moved to the city where my best friend lived, about a month before we broke up. I didn't react to the move super well and retreated into smoking a lot of weed and working. After I tried to start a conversation and failed, I started doing everything I could to avoid thinking about what was happening. By the time my partner said she wanted to talk, I was relieved, because I thought it meant that things might finally get better, but she just said she didn't want to be with me anymore. I tried to talk to her about it, but she froze up just like she did any time we had conflict since we started dating. About a week later, I was able to have a phone call with her where she was brutally honest. When we got together, part of what we agreed on was not wanting kids, but she said that she had now talked herself into wanting kids, just not with me. This is also when she told me that she just wasn't attracted to me anymore. There was a point when I was going to do anything to fix that relationship. But then I phoned my mom, and she talked some sense into me. As much as I loved her, this wasn't the right fit. I started moving out that day. A month after we U-hauled all of our stuff to the city, I was U-hauling all of my stuff back to my mom's attic. My best friend and my ex-partner became really good friends and continued to hang out without me in the city. And I imagine they still hook up occasionally. In fact, they hooked up the night she dumped me, which he said he felt really bad about and apologized for, but we agreed that it was best to let bygones be bygones. He also said that he didn't want to get in between the two of us, and I don't think he caused the relationship to end, but I don't think he helped as much as he could have. So now I'm living in my mom's attic, working remotely, and trying to get my life back together. I've been a listener of Ice Cream Social and Pod Therapy since they both started, and Ice Cream Social really helped me when my dad died when I was 17 years old. I've also considered myself a scoop, but I'm a total lurker. I haven't posted anything online since the same best friend went through every social media post I ever had and ruthlessly mocked them when I was about 15. Since then, I've never really put myself out there. Well, this year I've bought tickets to Scoop Fest 2020, VIP and everything. Cool. And I'm really excited, but I still feel completely paralyzed about trying to post in Scoop Group or try to connect with people beforehand. I've had a hard time with text messages and find them really stressful. So if I could somehow boil that ramble down to a few questions, how do you become an active member of a community that you've been passive in for so long? And is it worth holding on to a toxic friendship just because you mostly enjoy spending time with that person? Thanks for all you guys do. Anonymous.
Okay.
Lots
I didn't
there.
realize you cut that down too, because I cut that down first. Then you cut it down even more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You had already cut that?
Yeah, I already cut it by the time I sent it to you.
Yeah, I sliced it
So there
again.
was some other stuff in there that, a lot of really useful information that in therapy would probably be useful to have. In this, it probably
in the show,
doesn't.
it's too long for me.
Yeah, built too much. But okay, so where do you want to start? You want to start with the toxic friendship?
I want to start with the polyamory thing.
Toxic friendship thing.
Okay, well, that sounds like a lot more than a friendship.
Well, but I'm saying right now, it's like, because the question is do I still maintain friendship with this guy?
Your friend sounds like a dick. I mean, that seemed pretty obvious. Like, the dude spammed your social media when you were 15 so badly and brutally that you literally stopped using social media and are reluctant to talk to people online. And then you invite him into your romantic relationship, and then, the wobbly H turns into betrayal, and you say, oh, no, he didn't betray me, but he definitely had sex with her the night that we broke up. I don't know, buddy. I don't think this guy did you any favors. And he was the guy that she was talking all the trash to. She was going to the best friend with all of her gripes about this guy, which, again, I don't expect any of these guys to be like super mature. Like in our threesomes, I feel like we have a rule. We have a rule. No talking about them without them, right? That's our rule. That's our rule. If you have gripes, you bring it to the table. We talk about it together because we're adults, damn it, and we know how to do this. So this person's obviously on the younger end of the world. You know, if their father passed when they were 17 and ICS got them through it, they're maybe in their mid-20s. You know, that's probably...
He's 23.
Okay, 23.
Yeah.
So I would expect the writer's younger. First point, man, toxic friendship for sure. Like, I don't see I mean, obviously, I think we cling to people, especially when we've lost loved ones. We replace family with friends, and sometimes we allow these guys to stick in our lives because at the end of the day, we feel loyal to them, or we feel like they will be there for us. And I don't know, man. In this case, it's definitely time to broaden your horizons.
I see that a lot with folks where it's almost kind of like you look at the relationship as being how much time you've already committed to it.
Yeah.
As opposed to looking at it
Good point.
Does this relationship bring me joy?
Yeah, right.
Because if it doesn't bring you happiness or joy,
drop it in the trash.
It doesn't matter how long it had been there.
That's what
right.
You know,
if you've
says.
been, if you've
doesn't
been,
bring you joy, drop it.
Yeah. If you've been friends for 15 years, but it's just at this point, it's just not doing anything for you.
Yeah.
Oh, then it's just not doing anything for you.
Another thing we say, don't chase bad time with good time.
Right. And it's not like you have to completely cut them off and just say, like, I can't talk to you anymore. No, I think you just kind of start stepping back.
Yeah. Scale back your investment.
And I think you start dialing it back, putting a little bit more distance, and then you start making new connections. And that's where the second part of this question comes up.
How do you enter into a new community? And so the writer talks about Scoop Group, which is a Facebook group that's related to Ice Cream Social. And I was joking with Matt the other day that it's also become the waiting room of pod therapy. It's like people post their questions there, and then, they're like, I'm going through this thing, and they'll post things there. And the number one comment is always, hey, have you submitted this to pod therapy yet? And then people are like, yeah, I just did. It's like, great. So I usually see our questions show up there first. But so it's like an online community, and Ice Cream Social, that's one of the things that's really neat about it. If you're not a member of Ice Cream Social, but you listen to our show and you constantly hear the word scoop attached to people's names when they write in or during the Patreon section, that's like the official fan club of Ice Cream Social. Yeah. And so it's a huge community. We're part of it. We got absorbed into their ecosystem. And to the writer, the one thing I would tell you is if you're lurking in an online community that you find fun and you like the people of, just post something and just post a regular front of the board comment and say, hey, everybody, long-time lurker, first-time poster, really shy, looking forward to meeting everybody and making some new friends. Oh, yeah. It's a very good community. Yeah, you post that, everybody's going to be like, dude, buying you a beer, as soon as we get there. Like, you're going to have a great time.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very easy group to break into.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, even if you don't want to be in it, you just get brought in. That's what they do.
My method is how I got into it is I started a podcast and then submitted a Jock versus Nerd.
That's how we recommend it. Yeah.
That's really the easiest way to do it.
The simplest way.
And the podcast doesn't even have to be good.
No, we've proven that time and time again. Well, this is going to be cool because we're going to meet this dude. Right, he's going to be at Scoop Fest 2020.
And one thing I think that you'll learn is if you're nice, you're automatically accepted.
In most groups.
Yeah.
Not just ICS.
If you're just a kind person,
yes,
you will be accepted.
Yeah.
Just be polite, be kind, treat other people how you want to be treated, and you're in.
Yeah.
And it's you can get pretty far in life by just not being an asshole.
Nick has proven this. In fact, Nick and I were talking about this the other day at Cafe Berlin.
And I'm still an asshole. That's
just nobody knows it. You're the best undercover deep sleeper asshole I've ever seen in my life. There's Russian agents that are going to be uncovered before you are. We were talking about this at Cafe Berlin the other day. Nick and I were talking about professionals that we know in the community, and I was complaining that every time I meet somebody, they're like, "Oh, you're Jim Jobin. You're Nick Tangeman's friend," and I'm like, "Really?" People know me as Nick's friend. Like, that's what's up. And Nick was laughing. He's like, "Yeah, everybody gets along with me because I have no opinions. I don't make anybody mad. I never say anything offensive." I was like, I'd take a page out of your book.
I feel like it's exact opposite of the way the podcast works.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like on the podcast, I feel like I'm your co-host.
Okay.
But in real life, you're my friend.
Oh, I'm definitely your friend in real life. Yeah. In real life, people know me as being associated with that guy everybody likes. Yeah. I bring your stock way down.
Yeah.
But to the writer, that I take a page out of Nick's playbook. Basically, anytime you're part of an online community or you're just getting to know people, just being known as the friendly guy is a great rep. Like, nobody hates you. Be the friendly guy. If anybody tries to be a dick and like get in the comments and just bash you, the market will shout them down. Like
Right.
other people will bash the bashers and generally even out the dough and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that he had said in the part that we cut out is that he tends to overthink things. I'm the same way too. And I even talked about this when we...
I drastically underthink things.
when one of the scoop things, at one of the scoop fests that we went to where
We've gone to one.
Well, I've been to two.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
But like I was always too afraid to go talk to Matt, Paul, or Jacob. And I've already had conversations with them at this point.
Right.
You know, I've already known them.
Yeah.
But I felt like I always feel like I'm in the way. I feel like I'm...
Yes.
And that's part of just my mentality. I always feel like my biggest fear is to be a nuisance to somebody.
Right.
So I'm always super concerned about being in their way or something like that. So I always like to kind of hide back. And so I always kind of remind myself like, no, just, you know,
it's okay to be here.
Yeah, it's okay. Just say hi and don't overthink things. And, you know, sometimes if you say something gets taken the wrong way, just apologize for it. And then it's gone, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's the big thing too, is I'm always afraid, well, I don't want to say anything that somebody might interpret some way. Right. So then I don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
Where sometimes it's easier just to say, you know, say whatever it is you want to say. And if it gets interpreted, just say, hey, sorry.
And the magic of social media is the delete button. And so if you, like me, have posted something regrettable and you don't like how people are responding to it, you reach on up there and hit that delete button, baby. And you can just take it all back. It's wonderful. The internet will forget. Yeah. They won't remember a word you said.
Now, one thing, going back to the relationship thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I did get out of this that I think, Ryder, I compliment you on is the fact that you're kind of accepting the fact that this relationship didn't work out.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah. That is, good point. Yeah. Put a lot of stock in it, but managed to walk away, get resettled.
Yes.
Has an optimistic attitude about what comes next.
Yes. And
good for them.
He'd said he was really broken up about it. Then one phone call with his mom, he kind of realized like, oh yeah, you know, this wasn't a good fit.
Right.
So being able to recognize that and being able to walk away from that relationship.
Yeah.
That's definitely a step in the right direction. I think, you know, again, going back to the relationship with the friend, you have to understand that they may be together now or at least hooking up. They're at least friends.
The writer seems to have more peace with than I would. I mean, the writer self-identified as poly and basically facilitated this.
I think it would still be hard to
I'm sure it would. Yeah. Nobody wants to see, you know, be left out.
Right. And so, I think maybe just putting some distances.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It sounds like the writer's done a good job of that, man. And hey, you know, we're super excited to meet you at Scoop Fest. For those of you who don't already know, Scoop Fest is this big, huge annual, though this time it's biannual, get together for a lot of folks affiliated with Ice Cream Social. And it's going to have a whole new format this year. It's going to be big, huge, legit. It's going to be at the Orleans Hotel and Casino. It's going to be in November. You can go to heyscoops.com and go to the events, and you can buy tickets to go to this thing. And it will also have information about how to get cheap, discounted hotels at the Orleans. Nick and I are going to be there for the whole extravaganza. And we're also going to be part of the VIP thing. We're going to see Jacob and do the whiskey thing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to get to meet a lot of people. And we are currently planning a sake, sushi, and psychology.
Oh, yeah. We got to figure that out.
Dude, we have so many people this year that we are not going to be able to fit in that little room. We didn't fit in that little room last year.
I like Smitty's idea of just going there.
Yeah, Smitty said, let's just take the entire restaurant. Like, let's just take it by force.
We should at least look to see what that would cost us.
I don't think it costs you any. We're bringing them business.
No.
They should give us free sushi.
But to reserve it, I'm sure you got to put something down.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, because they're not going to just close up shop and then we don't show.
If we all go there, like, for breakfast, it'll be empty. See? You got to think like this. You're overthinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a way to beat the system here, bud.
Or we do what we did last time and just say, hey, we got this many people, we're showing up.
Yeah,
so just be prepared.
That's what you do. You just nailed it. That's what this many people are coming. Be ready. Yeah. Have all of your waitresses in a line. Yeah. I want the naked lady with the sushi on her when we walk in on the table, okay? Extra soy sauce.
I do like going back there, though. That's a good place to eat.
It was. Get the Golden Knights roll. Yeah. You know, you and I have not gone back there since.
We haven't.
Since that event. Wow. Have we gotten sushi since then?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I think we have. I don't think we've gone there. I think we went to Sushiman. We need to go back there. Yeah, that's overdue. So anyway, join us for Sushi, Sake,
So, yeah.
Psychology at a time and date to be announced. And that'll be fun. Be here in fabulous Las Vegas. And you could even win a Pod Therapy mug, which may be hidden somewhere in the city.
Other notes, other announcements. Don't forget to support David Vialon's NAMI fundraiser.
Yeah, go David. Run, David, run.
We had a really long link that we posted in the notes. There's a shortcut.
Oh, okay.
Just go to namiwalks.org.
Oh, you just type in David's name when you click donate?
NAMI, N-A-M-I, walks.org, and click on the donate button, and then you can search under his name.
Oh,
David
that's
Vialon.
faster.
I'll take you right there.
Yeah. Support David, man. He's running for Pod Therapy officially. Yep. We've endorsed him. That's the bump.
And we want to thank our new Patreons. We got a few new people.
Yeah, man.
New THERAPOD, Ezekiel Lawrence.
That was a good one.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah,
and
Andrew.
I can't say party.
That's great. I'm loving your speech impediment. This is fantastic. I'm glad we have a podcast.
Yeah. I have a speech impediment. And then Andrew Frozencusser. Shut up.
This is great. I'm not reading any of these.
Andrew actually joined as we were recording last week. So we didn't get him in last week's show. So we got him this week.
He was a THERAPAL. He bumped up.
Yeah, he bumped up. And a new Pterodactyl.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Sally Boop Scoop.
Welcome back, Sally Boop Scoop, and welcome to the Pterodactyl bunch.
Yes.
Cartoon pending as Kate continues to work it. It's going to be really good.
And the man that came in and kicked the door open.
Dude.
Easy Whip.
Easy Whip was not having it.
Our new ex officio board member.
Yeah, somehow we have an ex officio chairman of the board.
Yeah.
Because he walked in and said, you know what? I'm going to be the boss around here. And he dropped 2666, and now he is the chairman of the board.
And now he is telling us what to do.
He is the boss of bosses.
Yeah.
So, jeez, all hail the new chief.
Thank you very much, Easy Whip. We appreciate
it
you.
And took it. Well, we also want to thank our other bosses, the Elite Eight, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, who we call the THERAPRODUCERs. Thank you, Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, former chairman of the board.
Ouch.
Oh, stay down, Junior Mint. Kayla Lansbury, David Data Scoop, Vialon, Judy Schneider, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Dr. Ben Dawn, and ex officio board members Ellie O'Dare and Dan Martin, and Easy Whip, chairman of the board.
If you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited and enjoy our spontaneous projects, go to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time that we've got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, the Ice Cream Social Podcast, and Level 9 Studios in fabulous Las Vegas for hosting us tonight. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, Pod Therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Help us reach others by opening this episode's description in your podcast app and copying and pasting that link we provided to somebody who needs it. Don't forget, you can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy, on Twitter @PodTherapyGuys, and at patreon.com/therapy.
If you want to submit a question to the show, ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Niles Tangeman.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.